Hey guys, welcome back to Dev with Aditya, and in this video I'll be sharing everything that you need to know about JSON. So JSON is something that you will have to work with. No matter you are a front-end developer, a back-end developer, or even if you are a mobile developer, JSON is something that you will have to work with, and you will have to integrate JSON with your respected programming language. So it is a better idea to understand JSON in your early stage, and then you can in your development stage you can easily integrate it. So without any further delays, let's get started with this video. First of all, this is the official website that JSON has. I know this website is not so good and it's horrible to read the documentation over here. So I have a better resource for you guys. And the website name is W3 Schools. You might be knowing this website. Okay, so let's read this out. We will read together and we will try to understand what is JSON. Here I want to give you guys an idea how to read documentation and how to understand it. Okay, so the first point is JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation. Okay, understand that JSON is made up of three words: JavaScript, object, and notation. So JavaScript is a programming language, object is a data structure that we use inside JavaScript, and then we have this notation. Notation is something that we use to convey message or pass some data. Okay, let's read the next line. It says JSON is lightweight format. Now, why JSON is lightweight? Understand, when we transfer data from one computer to another computer in form of JSON, the actual form that data goes from one computer to other computer is a string. Okay, so your whole JSON is wrapped around double quotations, so it becomes a string, and string is obviously lightweight, and that is why JSON is lightweight as compared to XML. Okay, so further in the same point they say JSON is lightweight format for storing and transporting data. So I explained you the transporting part. Storing is also a use case of JSON. If we talk about NoSQL database, they work on this idea of storing the data in JSON format. If we talk about MongoDB, MongoDB uses JSON-like structure to store the data. Obviously, if we talk about technical terms, MongoDB does not store data in JSON. It stores the data in Json, but we don't want to get into Json in this particular video. Okay, moving forward, they say JSON is often used when data is sent from a server to a web page or web application. So this is the same point where I was talking about the API. When you work with API, you essentially grab data from the server, and your client could be a web application or it could be a mobile application. But the format that you will get your data from the server will be JSON. Okay, so the next point is JSON is self-describing and easy to understand. Obviously, JSON is easy to understand for you guys because you are watching this video. And why you are watching this video? Because you are a subscriber of this channel. And if not, go ahead and subscribe this channel right now so you get notified whenever I put these kind of programming videos. Okay, enough of self-promotion, let's move forward. So, as we discussed that JSON is JavaScript object, so we need to understand this JavaScript object a little bit. So to understand JavaScript object, I have an amazing resource for you guys, and that is this documentation by Mozilla. This is a great documentation if you want to learn JavaScript. Okay, so we see the title over here, working with objects. Now if I scroll down and a little bit, this is a great example. So here we are saying var my car. So var is a keyword that we use in JavaScript to declare a variable, then the variable name is my car, and then we have this structure. Okay, so we have a couple of things going on here, but the main thing that I want you guys to notice that all this thing is wrapped around this curly brace. Okay, and inside the curly brace we have key and value pairs. In this example we have 3 key and value pairs, and all the pair is separated using a comma over here. Okay, now if we look, this make is a key and the value for that is Ford. Moving forward, the model is the key and Mustang is the value. Your is the key and 1969 is the value. Okay, so this is how a JavaScript object looks like, and to be honest, our JSON looks same. Now JavaScript object has a lot of different things, like you can declare functions in objects, you can do class based objects and lot of things. But the goal for this video is not to understand JavaScript object, rather we want to understand JSON. So this much idea of JavaScript object is, I guess, enough. Okay, so let's move on to this website, and this website will look something like this, and I was zoomed in a little bit. Okay, so I'll zoom in again so that you can see everything clearly. Okay, so again, what is JSON? JSON is JavaScript object, and we saw just now that JavaScript object is wrapped around curly braces. So let's have our curly brace. Inside that we can have key and value, something like this, key value, and if you want another key and value we can use comma and we can have key and value, something like this. Okay, I will get rid of this and let's have a real world example, and with that example I will explain what are data types that JSON support. Okay, so let's have a key of name, and name will be a string of Aditya. Okay, so to recap, name is my key and Aditya, which is quoted in double quotations, and that is my string. It is a value. Moving forward, let's say ID, not if, ID will be 1. Again, to recap, ID is my key, 1 is a value of number data type. Moving forward, let's say is programmer. Am I a programmer? Yes, I am a programmer, so I will assign true. Now alternatively you can use false as well. So this is a data type of boolean. In boolean we can have two values, either false or true. False means no, true means yes. In this case I am a programmer, so let's say true. After that we can have phone number, and my phone number is obviously I'm not going to share it, and therefore I can have null as in value. Null means there is nothing in there. Okay, and then moving forward, let's say skills. What skills do I have? For skills I will say I know C, C++, and then let's say Java and Python. Great. So this is a value of data type array. Array is just a collection of items. So over here we are having collection of string. So this is a string, 1 string, 2 string, 3 and 4. Great, absolutely fine. And then we can say address. For address I will say curly brace. And what does curly brace means? It means that we are going to declare an object. So this will be a value of data type object. And what we can have inside object? All these kind of things. Okay, so we can have, let's say, state, not like this, state will be Gujarat, which is a string. Then I can say country India. Perfect. I'll zoom out, and now if I click on this particular button, it will say error. And why is that? Okay, so if we see this object, JavaScript object, we have key and value, and that's what we did in this example, didn't we? Then why this is giving me an error? So this is a basic difference between a JavaScript object and JSON. When you work with JavaScript object, you don't have to make the key string, but when you are working with JSON, you need to make your key a string, and we can do that. If I zoom in a little bit, I can make this key a string just like that. I'll have to do it for every key. Okay, so this is a basic difference between JavaScript object and JSON. JavaScript object don't have key don't have a string for the key, and JSON has string for the key. Okay, just give me a second and I'll do that. Okay, and there we go. Now if I zoom out and if I click on this validate button, there we have valid JSON. Perfect. Now you guys know what is JSON and how JSON looks and what kind of different values JSON can have. So JSON can have string, JSON, okay, I'm talking about value, not key. Key should be a string, compulsory, no excuse. For values, you can have string, number, boolean, null, array, or another object. Fine. Now what I'll do is I'll copy this and I'll go on to my text editor. Okay, so we have json-vid.js. Now here I'll say const user and I'll use my string literal and I'll paste the JSON. Fine. Now if I do console log, okay, type of user, save that file, and if I execute that file, and if you guys are wondering how am I able to execute JavaScript in my terminal, I am actually using Node for that matter. If you haven't watched my previous video where I showed you my development setup, go ahead, watch that video. I'll give you the link in the I button. Okay, if I execute this file, we have string, because as I told you, whenever you are getting JSON from the server or API, majority of the time you will get in string. You will have to parse that string into JSON. Now how do we parse that? It is really simple for JavaScript, at least. I am not talking about any other language. So what I'll do is I'll say const and I'll say JSON, let's say user JSON, if I can write that correctly, JSON. Okay, then I can say JSON dot parse, and in this function I can pass the user, which is the string. Now if I do console dot log type of user JSON, save that file, and if I execute this file, we have object. Now okay, now let's head back to the Mozilla docs. And how do we work with objects? So it is simple. Whenever you want to get a value of any property, you just do object.property, or alternatively you can do variable or object, and then inside the square brackets you can mention the key, but then it should be wrapped around in the quotations. We'll do both of that thing. I'll say log user JSON dot name, and below that I'll say user JSON square brackets, and in strings I'll say is programmer. Save this file, and if I execute this file, we have type is object, then JSON user JSON dot name is Aditya, and user JSON square brackets is programmer is true. And that is how you work with JSON in JavaScript. Okay, so that was it for this video. I hope now you will have no doubts regarding JSON, and if you do, make sure you ask that doubt in your comment section, not in your comment section, in the comment section of this video. Or if you want me to personally have interaction with you and personally solve your doubt, you can go on to my Instagram page and you can always put a message there. I try to reply each and every one of you. So that's it for this video. I hope you really enjoyed it, and if you did, just give me a little bit of favor. Just share this video with your friends who also need to learn JSON. So thanks for watching this video. Be safe, keep coding, and I'll see you guys in the next one.